Ladies and gentlemen, this has been an amazing year in gaming. I really didn't know what I was expecting going into 2024. But now that we're at the end of this year, looking back, this truly has been an incredible year for video games across all consoles. So in this video, we're going to go over what I think are the top 10 best video games that came out in 2024. Let's go ahead and get right into the video. So I'll be honest, I easily could have put 20 games in this video, but I thought it would be a little bit more of a difficult challenge to only pick 10. And once I started only picking 10, it became an incredibly difficult challenge. So before we get started, if you could hit a like and subscribe and follow me on Instagram, I'd really appreciate that. And let's just go ahead and get into the video. The first game we're talking about today is Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. And not only in my opinion is this one of the best Nintendo Switch games of all time, now I think this is just one of the best video games of all time, best Nintendo games of all time. And yeah, it's just incredible from start to finish. It's a 10 out of 10 game. Every time I talk about this game, I like to mention that the GameCube version is perfectly fine. They easily could have just ported over the GameCube version to the Switch, maybe changed some controls, and knowing Nintendo, they could have sold it for $60 and we would have all bought it because that game still holds up incredibly well. The graphics are great, and it's just a great game that stood the test of time. So when they were remaking this or remastering it or whatever the hell this is, I was curious, how could you make this game better? And now that I've played the game, the graphics, the gameplay, the music, the art style, it has it all. Truly 10 out of 10 across every category. And I think when we look back in the future at this game, we're going to see that it's easily one of the best Nintendo games of all time. In my opinion, it immediately goes into the top 10 of all greatest Nintendo games of all time. This easily earns the title of being a masterpiece. So in my opinion, mascots are pretty important in gaming. And we know if you have a mascot, it kind of helps your brand identity, right? With Nintendo, we have Mario. With Pokemon, they have Pikachu. With Xbox, they have Halo or Master Chief. But PlayStation, it's always been a question, who is a PlayStation mascot? Some people think Kratos, and I think that's fine. Back in the early days, I would have said Crash Bandicoot maybe. But I think we have a definite answer now. Having Astro Bot's Playroom on every PS5 when you first get it is such a smart thing to do, because playing it is your first real experience with your PS5, and it teaches you about the DualSense controller and all the cool features. But once you start playing the game, you realize this character is so charming. He's cute, he's awesome. How is this not PlayStation's mascot? Well, you know what they say, better late than never, right? We finally got an Astro Bot game. And it's just called Astro Bot, which is strange. I think it should have a cooler name. But yeah, the game is amazing. It really does feel like, I hate to say it, but you're playing a Nintendo 3D platformer. It has all the charm of that. But it's Astro Bot, and it has all these PlayStation themes, and it's just so damn fun. It can actually get pretty challenging as you play it. And I'm very excited for the future of Astro Bot now. But in my opinion, this is a perfect game. It really is so damn good. It's so fun to search for all the little Astro Bots. It's so cool to see all the cameos. And the Astro Bot PS5 controller is without a doubt my favorite gaming controller I have ever seen. Maybe, just maybe, I'm a little biased towards robots, Mr. Robot Joe, but who can say? So if 2024 wasn't crazy enough, some way, somehow, we got a brand new Legend of Zelda game that you play as Princess Zelda. This would be a big deal any year that it came out, but 1 year after the biggest Legend of Zelda game of all time, I truly don't even know how the hell that's possible. Like, if this was a remake or a port, maybe I would understand it a little bit better, but an entirely brand new adventure just 1 year after Tears of the Kingdom, it makes it seem like these people are superhumans that don't even take a break. This game is great, and I like how you use the tri-rod instead of, I guess, using a sword the whole time. It makes it personable to Princess Zelda. But something that I've mentioned before is I hope moving forward, the Zelda team doesn't feel like everything has to be this create your own adventure style game where you can kind of do anything. Because in Echoes of Wisdom, you can see it's heavily inspired by the creativity of Tears of the Kingdom. So in the future Zelda games, I really would like to get, I guess, that classic Zelda game, right? Zelda's my favorite franchise of all time. And I miss old Zelda games. That's why Wind Waker will forever be the best Zelda game. We also got Final Fantasy VII Rebirth this year. Final Fantasy VII Remake is good, and when I played it, I actually thought it was better than I thought it was going to be, But there were a few things in the game that I wish they would change, or maybe that they could fix, or it really is just minor stuff when I go back and think about it. Without even realizing it, they fixed all of those issues in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And now, in my opinion, at least for the time being, this is one of the greatest Final Fantasy games of all time. I actually prefer this over the original 7. I know this isn't a complete story now, and we're waiting on the 3rd entry, but if I had to choose 3, I would pick Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I'm going to count 10 and 10-2 as one entry, and then Final Fantasy VI, the Pixel Remaster or Remakes. Final Fantasy is currently in a very good spot, and I'm very curious what they'll do with the 3rd entry. But yeah, man, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is a perfect game, at least coming from a Final Fantasy fan. This really was an amazing year for RPGs because we also got Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake. Years ago, the great hero Ortega bid farewell to his wife and child on a quest to defeat the villainous archfiend Baramos. Ortega failed his quest, and Baramos still threatens the world. Now on their 16th birthday, Ortega's only child is summoned by the king and entrusted with a mission of the highest import to take on Ortega's quest, vanquish Baramos, and save the world. I am a huge Dragon Quest fan. I started with Dragon Quest XI on the Switch, and then I went and played I think 7 and 8 on the 3DS. I tried to play Dragon Quest III, but it was like the mobile port or whatever the hell was on the Switch, and I could see that there was like a shell of a good game there, but it just was not the best way to play it. This now is the definitive way to play Dragon Quest III. And again, this is now one of the greatest Dragon Quest games of all time. This game will exceed your expectations, it really will. It seems like every JRPG that's going to get remade, like classic JRPG, they just don't know what to do, so they do HD 2D. And I can see that that style might get overdone, but for the time being, this game does it right. If you've never played a Dragon Quest game at all, I actually think this is a perfect place to start now. So another amazing game we got this year was Stellar Blade. And this game has very big gameplay. Yeah, you need to reclaim Earth for humankind. The future of humanity hangs in balance in Stellar Blade. Ravaged by strange, powerful creatures, Earth has been abandoned, and what is left of the decimated human race has fled to a colony in outer space. After traveling from the colony, 7th Airborne Squad member Eve arrives on the desolate remains of the planet with a clear-cut mission: to save humankind by reclaiming Earth. Piecing together the mysteries of the past and the ruins of human civilization, she realizes that her mission is far from straightforward. In fact, almost nothing is as it seems. Aside from what people think people like this game for, the gameplay is actually very damn good in this game. Very, very good. And I really like the whole atmosphere in this. I've seen somebody online say it's like Nier Automata for people who can't grasp Nier Automata, or Nier Automata, whatever the hell you want to call it. That's one of my favorite games of all time, and I can see the comparison, but I really do think they do their own thing in this game. But at the same time, I mean, they just added 2 BS DLC, so what the hell do I know? So I've said it once and I'll say it again, there was so many good damn RPGs this year. Actually, now I don't even know if I said that earlier in the video. I was almost going to put Persona 3 Reload in this video, and I think if you have that in your top 10, that's fine. But if I'm going to pick any Atlus game, I have to go with Metaphor ReFantazio. Persona 3 Reload is great, and I think they made it better in every possible way, and the graphics just look so damn good. But this is a brand new adventure, a brand new IP. They really went above and beyond in this one. So much like even the menus look cool and have a purpose, right? Even when you're in the menus, you're like, damn, they did a good job here. But the gameplay is great, the story is good, the graphics are amazing, but the music, I mean, Myron, what are we doing here? I'm very excited to see how this franchise will evolve, because now it seems like Atlus has their 3, right? They have Shin Megami Tensei, they have the Persona series, and they have this. I don't even know what you would call this style, like medieval or something like that. Regardless of what it's called, they nailed it on the head. This game is incredibly freaking long, so just keep that in mind, but if you're down for the challenge, this is one you do not want to miss. So the most recent game on this list is Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, and from the very moment they showed this game off, I was immediately anticipating it. I'll be honest, I think I've only watched one Indiana Jones movie ever, so I don't have like nostalgia for that. What this reminds me of is the Mummy movies, The Mummy and The Mummy Returns. There is a third one, but we don't speak about that one. And from the very moment they showed this off, it reminded me of that, and I knew I was going to love this. Now, the one thing that I wasn't sure about is it being first person. It's not bad, but I really do think third person would have did this game more justice. I think this is made by Machine Games. I love Wolfenstein. I actually just finished whatever the first Wolfenstein was on the PS4. Not the one where it's like zombies or whatever at the end, but the other one. I just finished it last night for like the second or third time. I've beat Wolfenstein 2 a million times, and I just love like historical games. I'm not saying they're historically accurate, but games that take you back to older times. They're some of my favorite, and Indiana Jones does it right. One of the best things about this game is all the stuff that you can pick up and throw at your enemies. That in itself could be a damn game, but the world they have crafted here is absolutely beautiful, and you just want to stop and look at stuff and explore and search for treasure, and yeah, they really did this one justice, man. Now let's talk about a little game where you can play as a monkey, and I'm not talking about Monkey Ball. I'm talking about Black Myth Wukong. I'll be honest, maybe I was just out of the loop, but I had no idea that this game was even coming out until like a week or two before release. I'm sure people knew about this game, I'm sure it was on a lot of people's radars, but I don't know, I just had no idea what the hell was going on. Once this game came out though, it took off, like truly exploded. I think a team in China did create this, and I know it tackles Chinese mythology, so maybe there was a lot of players from China, but if I'm not mistaken, this game sold 25 million copies, and those numbers are from like a few months ago. There are some amazing game franchises that are out right now that have been out for 20 years plus that have not sold 20 million copies collectively. So that's insane, 25 million copies. I think they did a phenomenal job. I think you can see that passion really went into this. Sometimes when a game company is making a game and it's a big game, there are times where they should probably pull out, but they're in too deep, so they just finish it to the end. And maybe a game will be good for the first hour or two, but then it really falls off. This game from start to finish, a lot of passion went into it, a lot of work went into it, and it really shows. This game has some of the best boss fights that I've experienced in recent memory, and I really like all the abilities. I don't know what I was expecting from this game. I thought you were just like a monkey with a stick, but there are some really cool abilities, like that one where you can kind of clone yourself and keep moving. Yeah, they did a great job here. I don't know what the future of this game will be, whether that be DLC or a new entry one day, but for the time being, if you do get a chance to check this one out, yeah, you're probably going to enjoy it because it's pretty badass. And for the 10th and final entry, there are so many things we could choose from. I mean, you could put all the best games in a hat, right? A list of all the best games and pull one out, and it would rightly have a spot, probably at the 10th spot. But I'm actually going to pick a game that came out at the very beginning of the year that really surprised me, that I think deserves more praise, and unfortunately I think it didn't sell quite well. But I'm talking about Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. I don't know what I was expecting out of this game, and I actually didn't pick it up right away. Maybe because I was a little jaded at first. When they first showed this off, I was waiting for a sequel to Immortals Phoenix Rising, and the game had not been canceled yet, the sequel. So when they first showed this off for like the first 30 seconds, I was like, dang, is this a 2D sequel, right? That's something. I'll check that out. It looks pretty fun. Then I seen it was Prince of Persia, and then I think like a week or two later, they canceled Immortals Phoenix Rising sequel. So I was like, I don't know if I'll ever check this game out. Once I finally picked up this game, after playing for only 30 minutes, I was blown away by the quality and the writing and the gameplay, and the actual platforming. I think this is a Metroidvania by definition, but it just feels like an amazing 2D platformer. It can be incredibly difficult at times, but it's also very rewarding in the same sentence. I read something that I don't know if it's true, but I read that the Nintendo Switch version is the most optimized version of this game. Like, they created the Switch version first, and then they tweaked some stuff for other platforms, and playing it on the Switch, keeping that in mind, it feels like it's true. The Switch version is damn near perfect. I guess the game underperformed. I don't know if I read 1 million copies or 1.5 or maybe even 2 million copies, but regardless, it didn't hit the numbers that they wanted, so they canceled DLC for it. I think they even canceled a sequel for it. That really does suck because I absolutely love this game, and it easily earned the 10th spot in this video. Ladies and gentlemen, in my opinion, these were the top 10 video games released in 2024. I would love to hear your opinion though, so in the comments below, let me know some of your favorite games, no matter what platform it came from. I would love to hear from you. And remember, if you made it to this part of the video, I have a little deal for you. If you hit a like and subscribe, and you follow me on Instagram, I will bless you with 10,000, not 1,000. I'm currently doing 10,000 years of good luck. So don't miss out on this deal. And you guys know me, I will see you very soon with a new video. Peace out.